I still remember the email. It said, "Your role has been automated." I laughed, then I panicked. It felt surreal. I had always been a good employee. I was punctual, efficient, and always met my targets. How could a machine replace me? The office felt different that day. The air was thick with anxiety. Whispers of automation and redundancy filled the corridors. My colleagues, once jovial and optimistic, now wore expressions of fear and uncertainty. I wasn't ready for this. None of us were. We had heard the rumors, of course. The whispers of AI infiltrating various sectors, of jobs being lost to algorithms and bots. But it always felt distant, like a problem for the future. Until now. The initial shock was followed by a strange numbness. It was as if my mind had decided to protect itself by shutting down all emotions. I couldn't process what had just happened. The news hit me like a freight train, and yet I felt nothing. It was a surreal experience, like watching a movie of someone else's life. I went through the motions of clearing my desk, saying goodbye to colleagues, and packing up my personal items. Each action felt mechanical, devoid of any real feeling. My colleagues offered sympathetic smiles and words of encouragement, but their voices seemed distant, like echoes in a vast, empty hall, all the while feeling like I was in a daze. My body was present, but my mind was elsewhere, lost in a fog of disbelief and confusion. I couldn't grasp the reality of the situation. It felt like I was floating, disconnected from the world around me. The world outside seemed to continue at its usual frenetic pace, completely indifferent to my personal crisis. People hurried by, cars honked, and life went on as if nothing had changed. It was a stark reminder that the world doesn't stop for anyone's pain, oblivious to the turmoil within me. I felt like a ghost, invisible and insignificant as the world moved around me. The contrast between my inner chaos and the outer world's normalcy was jarring. The city's soundtrack of honking cars and distant sirens felt jarring, a constant reminder of the life I was no longer a part of. Each sound seemed to pierce through the numbness, amplifying my sense of isolation, a stark contrast to the quiet despair that had enveloped me. I sought solace in the quiet corners of the city, hoping to find some semblance of peace. But the silence only amplified my thoughts, making the despair more palpable. I remember walking home that day, each step feeling heavier than the last. The familiar route seemed longer, more arduous, as if the weight of my thoughts was dragging me down, my briefcase suddenly feeling unbearably heavy. It wasn't just the physical weight, it was the emotional burden I was carrying. Every step was a struggle, every breath a reminder of the uncertainty that lay ahead. It wasn't just the weight of my belongings, it was the weight of my shattered dreams and the fear of an unknown future. It was the weight of uncertainty, of a future that now seemed terrifyingly uncertain. The plans I had made, the goals I had set, all seemed to crumble in an instant. Of a future that now seemed terrifyingly uncertain. I stood at a crossroads, unsure of which path to take, feeling lost and directionless. The familiar route home felt alien, each step a heavy thud of disbelief. The streets I had walked countless times before now seemed foreign, as if I was seeing them for the first time, each step a heavy thud of disbelief. How could everything change so quickly? How could I go from being a valued employee to obsolete in the space of a single email? How could I go from being a valued employee to obsolete in the space of a single email? The questions swirled in my mind, unanswered and relentless, as I tried to make sense of the new reality I was forced to face. The first few weeks were the hardest. Denial was my constant companion. I told myself it was just a blip, a temporary setback. Surely my skills and experience counted for something. I spent hours scouring job websites, my optimism dwindling with each passing day. Every job description seemed to require some level of expertise in AI or machine learning, skills I didn't possess. The interviews, when they did come, were even more disheartening. Potential employers would politely listen to my qualifications, only to express a preference for candidates with digital fluency and AI adaptability. The message was clear. My skills, once considered valuable, were now considered outdated in this brave new world of automation. Denial eventually gave way to fear, a gnawing, persistent fear that whispered I was too old to adapt, too set in my ways to learn new tricks. The fear was all-consuming. It kept me up at night, my mind racing with worst-case scenarios. What if I couldn't find another job? What if this was it, the end of my career? The financial strain added another layer of anxiety. My savings were dwindling and the bills kept piling up. The once comfortable life I had built brick by brick now felt precariously balanced on the edge of a precipice. I was angry. Angry at the company for discarding me like an outdated piece of software. Angry at myself for not seeing this coming, for not being prepared. The fear morphed into something else entirely, a deep-seated sense of failure. It was as if a dark cloud had settled over my life, casting a shadow on everything I once held dear. The days felt longer, the nights even more so, filled with restless thoughts and unanswered questions. Being declared redundant at 40 did something to a man. It wasn't just about losing a job, it was about losing a part of oneself. The part that felt valuable, needed, and respected. It was a blow to the very core of my identity. It chipped away at your confidence, eroded your sense of self-worth. Every rejection letter, every unanswered application felt like another nail in the coffin of my self-esteem. I began to question my skills, my experience, and even my worth as a person. I had always defined myself by my work, by my ability to provide, to be a productive member of society. My career was my identity, my pride. Without it, I felt like a ship without a rudder, drifting aimlessly in a vast, uncharted ocean. Now, stripped of my professional identity, I felt adrift, lost in a sea of uncertainty. The future, once so clear and promising, now seemed like a distant, unreachable horizon. I was caught in a storm of doubt and fear with no safe harbor in sight. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. Time seemed to blur, each day indistinguishable from the next. The seasons changed, but my situation remained the same. I was stuck in a loop, unable to break free from the chains of my own despair. The initial shock had worn off, but the pain lingered, a dull ache in the pit of my stomach. It was a constant reminder of my failure, a weight that I carried with me every single day. The world around me continued to move forward, but I was frozen in place. I withdrew from friends and family, ashamed of my situation, terrified of their pity. I couldn't bear to see the disappointment in their eyes, the unspoken questions about my future. Isolation became my refuge, a place where I could hide from the world and my own failures. The world, it seemed, had moved on without me. People were busy with their lives, their careers, their families. I felt like an outsider watching from the sidelines as life passed me by. The sense of being left behind was overwhelming. My former colleagues had found new jobs, embraced the AI revolution. They adapted, evolved, and thrived in the new landscape. Meanwhile, I was stuck, unable to move forward, paralyzed by fear and self-doubt. Their success only highlighted my own failures, and here I was, stuck in a rut, paralyzed by fear and self-doubt. The future seemed bleak and I couldn't see a way out. But deep down, a small part of me still hoped for a second chance, a way to rebuild and redefine my life. The journey ahead was uncertain, but I knew I had to keep moving, one step at a time. Section 6. Acceptance. And then, one day, something shifted. I remember sitting in my study, surrounded by discarded CVs and rejection letters, when the absurdity of it all hit me. I had become so consumed by fear, so trapped in my own head, that I had forgotten how to live. I looked at my reflection in the window, really looked, and saw not a failure, but a survivor. I had faced adversity before, and I would face it again. This was not the end, but a new beginning. That day, I made a decision. I would not let this defeat me. I would reinvent myself, embrace the challenge, and forge a new path for myself. Section 7. Learning to code. I enrolled in a coding boot camp. It was daunting at first, being surrounded by tech-savvy millennials who spoke in a language I barely understood. But I persevered, fueled by a newfound determination and a healthy dose of fear. The world of coding was a revelation. It was challenging, frustrating, and exhilarating all at the same time. I spent hours poring over textbooks, debugging code, and slowly, painstakingly, building something from scratch. There were moments of doubt, of course, when the complexity of it all felt overwhelming. But I reminded myself that every expert was once a beginner, and that every line of code I wrote was a step closer to my goal. Section 8. The future is now. It wasn't easy, but I eventually found my footing in this new world. I leveraged my years of experience in my previous field to carve out a niche for myself as a consultant, helping businesses navigate the complexities of AI integration. It wasn't the career path I had envisioned for myself, but it was challenging, rewarding, and most importantly, it was mine. I had faced my fear, embraced the unknown, and emerged from the other side stronger and more resilient than ever before. Looking back, I realized that losing my job to AI was not the end, but a catalyst. it forced me to confront my own obsolescence, to adapt and evolve in a rapidly changing world. Section 9. A New Hope. My story is not unique, it is a reflection of a broader narrative that is unfolding in every corner of the world. As we navigate through the complexities of modern life, we find ourselves at the intersection of tradition and innovation. It is a story that is being repeated across the globe, as AI continues to reshape the employment landscape. From bustling metropolises to serene rural areas, the impact of AI is felt everywhere. But it is not a story of despair, but of hope. Hope that we can harness this technology to create a better, more inclusive world, a world where opportunities are abundant and accessible to all. The rise of AI will undoubtedly bring about significant changes, altering the way we live, work, and interact with each other. It will challenge us to rethink our roles and responsibilities. But it also presents an opportunity for reinvention, for us to redefine our relationship with work. We can explore new avenues of human potential, unlocking creativity and innovation like never before. For us to redefine our relationship with work, we must embrace change and be willing to adapt. This is a chance to break free from the constraints of traditional employment and discover new ways to contribute to society, and explore new avenues of human potential. The key is to embrace lifelong learning, to be adaptable, and to never stop questioning the status quo. The key is to embrace lifelong learning, to be adaptable, and to never stop questioning. In this new era, education and continuous self-improvement are more important than ever, and to never stop questioning, exploring, and evolving. The future belongs to those who are willing to adapt, to learn new skills, and to embrace the unknown with courage and optimism, exploring and evolving. The future belongs to those who are willing to adapt, to learn new skills, and to embrace the unknown with courage and optimism. It is a journey of continuous growth and discovery. The future belongs to those who are willing to adapt, to learn new skills, and to embrace the unknown with courage and optimism. The age of AI is here, and it is up to us to shape it, and to embrace the unknown with courage and optimism. The age of AI is here. Let us not fear it, but shape it, mold it into a future that benefits all of humanity. The age of AI is here. Let us not fear it, but shape it, mold it into a future that benefits all of humanity. Together, we can create a world where technology serves as a tool for empowerment and progress. Let us not fear it, but shape it, mold it into a future that benefits all of humanity. By working together, we can ensure that the advancements in AI lead to a brighter, more equitable future for everyone. Mold it into a future that benefits all of humanity. The journey ahead is filled with challenges, but also with immense possibilities. Let us embrace this new era with hope, determination, and a collective vision for a better tomorrow.